My name is Jacob, and you're watching my show about literature. And only literature. Sigmund Freud's landmark work, The Interpretation of Dreams, significantly changed the way we understand our nightly visions. By positing that dreams are intimately connected with our waking life, he opened the door to understanding the relationship between the conscious and the unconscious. He argues that there is a psychological technique which makes it possible to interpret dreams, and that, on the application of this technique, every dream will reveal itself as a psychological structure, full of significance, and one which may be assigned to a specific place in the psychic activities of the waking state. The dreams that we see are not random. They are products of the unconscious mind, attempting to filter what we have experienced while we are conscious. This process of comprehending stimuli was understood by Freud to be a form of wish fulfillment, wherein the primal unconscious expresses a desire to resolve a particular conflict or trauma that has occurred in the individual's past. These traumas then manifest themselves as tangible symbols from which we can discern their origin. In the case of Alice, we can say with absolute certainty that her dream is a product of her strict Victorian upbringing. It is universally recognized and affirmed by both modern critics and contemporary sources that a child's upbringing in Victorian England was less than pleasant. Every aspect of their rearing was geared towards making them adults as quickly as possible. Even their leisure time was commandeered towards this purpose. Children's books, for example, were uniformly written as moral guidebooks designed to instruct youth on the virtues and vices of life. They were so prevalent, in fact, that one of our most commonly used phrases, Little Miss Goody Two-Shoes, comes directly from a series of didactic children's literature in which the heroine operates under this saccharine moniker. So it should come as no surprise to the reader to learn how put off Alice is when she looks into her sister's book and finds that it contains no pictures or conversations. Here she was trying to alleviate her boredom of doing nothing by the river, and she encounters more of the same dry, moralistic drivel that she has to deal with on a daily basis. Richard Kelly affirms this when he writes, "Her remark suggests her rebellion against the boring and didactic Victorian texts used to educate children, and it also establishes the motivation for Alice's escape into a dream world." The word escape is a particularly fitting description for Alice's unconscious departure from reality, considering how constrained and controlled her existence is. Such is her desire to be freed from the bonds of Victorian life that she literally runs after the white rabbit with hardly any consideration. To Alice, there was nothing so very remarkable in that, nor did Alice think it so very much out of the way to hear the rabbit say to itself, oh dear, I shall be too late." When she thought it over afterward, it occurred to her that she ought to have wondered at this, but at the time it seemed quite natural. The white rabbit is clearly a manifestation of Alice's wish fulfillment. It symbolizes both her conformity and rejection of Victorian ideals. The rabbit is a wild animal, and yet it wears clothes. In the same way, Alice is forced to suppress her natural inclinations as a child and take on the trappings and dispositions of an adult. This vision of resentment is immediately followed by a distinctly Freudian element when Alice follows the white rabbit down the rabbit hole. Containers or entrances are typically designated as symbols of the birth canal, and Alice's rabbit hole is no different. Her descent into the hole represents the conception of her dream world wherein she acts as the inseminating phallus. In fact, the entirety of her dream can be considered, as William Empson notes, a circuit where Alice transitions from phallus to the birth canal, to that of the embryo, to that of a newborn. After her descent through the rabbit hole, she transitions into the environment of the embryo by swimming in the amniotic fluid of the pool of tears. Alice then develops in a world that stands as a direct parody of the nonsensical life in which she lives. There is no order in Wonderland, and the pitiful excuse for a monarchy rules under the tyranny of executing subjects without questioning. This is highly reminiscent of when a child questions an authority figure only to be told, "because I said so," which is almost as devastating as being decapitated, because it takes away the child's belief in a system of equality and fairness. Such a system can't exist when the rules are arbitrary and unbalanced. Why do I have to read this book without pictures or conversations? Because I am an adult, and you are the child, and you will do as you are told. Again and again we see this authoritarian depiction being played out in Alice's dream world. Possibly the most poignant and cruel is the one of the Duchess and her child. Alice witnesses the horrific sight of the Duchess singing a sort of lullaby to it, and as she did so, and giving it a violent shake at the end of every line, which for me speaks volumes for the inherent cruelty of a Victorian child's upbringing. I feel that this scene represents Alice's trauma by bringing to light the contradicting intention and effect of being raised in Victorian society. While it is clear that the constant moralizing and corporal punishment of children was done with the intent of producing responsible adults, it can't be denied that this process created a great deal of pain. Thus, the image of the Duchess lovingly shaking her child can be interpreted in this manner. While Alice may not verbalize her trauma when she is conscious, it appears in a very real way in her unconscious. She resolves her pain by making herself the only sensible person in a mad, mad world. In this way, she gains control over her life by asserting her independence and individual nature. I should point out that the question we must ask ourselves is not what a particular dream image means, but why. Once we understand why the dream image occurs, then we can begin to understand the meaning of our dreams. Thanks for watching. As always, if you like what you see, don't forget to like and subscribe. And stay tuned, because you know what? We're going to go Schwarzenegger on this one. We are going to be reading Conan the Barbarian. So don't be a girly man, and tune in next time. Peace!